Greetings, everybody. Lars here. Owe you all an apology. I feel terribly guilty because this is the first time, I can't say live because I'm taping it and I'm going to give it to you, but I guess contemporary. This is me in 2020 in the age of COVID. September 25th. It's like 10:30 at night. I figured I'd jump on. You're in the middle of Unit 2. Everybody's doing good. I just figured I'd come on and say hello and mention a few things about the course and about how things are going along. You probably have a good idea of what's going on now. You've done Unit 1 and everybody was pretty successful. Read the slides, watch the videos, engage with the resources. That's kind of the first part. Then do your discussion post. Okay, that's the first deliverable. 2 assignments, not a super heavy lift. We'll talk about the Unit 2 assignments in a minute. And then you take the quiz, right? So it's the post, the 2 assignments, and the quiz. And that's basically what a unit is comprised of. Unit 1 was 2 weeks. Unit 2, 2 weeks. It's going to end in like a week, 5-6 days, October 1st, I think. And it'll be the same thing. I opened up the second assignment tonight. They look short, the 2 assignments. They are short, but they need some thought. Okay? And when you're done with them and you hand them in and we get on to Unit 3, I'm going to tell you some stuff about those problems and we're going to laugh, and there's some interesting stuff going on with those problems. So we're going to talk about that after you're done. Over the weekend, and I'm always torn when I get to this part, I'm going to release, when you see this video, and I'm releasing it before the third one, it's going to say Unit 2 Video 4. Because there's a third video, and it's where I do the Euler problem. If you read the slides all the way to the end, I introduce you guys to Project Euler. Never say you don't have practice problems again, because now all of a sudden you got 700 of them, right? So I'm going to do number 6. And I have a video in the can. That's kind of contemporary because I think I did it in June. I think I did it at the beginning of the summertime. And I did a bunch of extra stuff with it. So you're going to have that. Then, when we do Unit 3, we're going to learn about functions and a different way to write our code a little bit. And then we're going to do Euler again. But we're going to do it with the new skills we learned. Remember, and you guys seem good with it so far. It's only been the 1 unit. But computer programming is like math in that it's a pyramid. Algebra is built on top of arithmetic, geometry on top of that, trigonometry, pre-calc, calc. So right now you did data types and beginning variables and if-then and booleans. And now this unit, you're doing strings and you're doing lists and you're doing loops and while loops and for loops and you're iterating and you're doing all that stuff. Then the next unit, you're going to do some other stuff. You're going to find out as we go through, and if you read the one-on-one document, you know what I'm talking about, that we're going to slowly but surely build you up, and halfway through the course, you're going to know Python. You're going to know the basics of Python. It's grad school, so I go a little more quickly than I would if this were an undergraduate offering. And then in the second half, we're going to use Python to do some interesting things. I'm going to reintroduce all of the computer science components that I have removed in order to teach you the programming language first. And then we're going to go back and look at object orientation, and we're going to look at data structures. Okay? You don't have to understand what that means yet. You don't have to worry about all that stuff. All right? I feel bad. I'm not even going to, I got to get out and do some kind of job, right? There's my idle. I'm firing up my idle. I'm going to say file. I'm going to say new. All right? What am I going to do? I'm going to put in some comments. And I'll do a while loop, I guess. Let's see. Input. Enter a number. And the reason I'm going to do something, there's always got to be a reason to do something. Is that right? That looks right. And I say this when you get the Euler stuff. You are finally at the point after Unit 2. And it's going to be more so after Unit 3. But after Unit 2, you're at the point where you can now do something. You can now solve problems. Okay? All you have to do is take the tools that you have. You can represent numbers and words in your programming language. You can make decisions based on them with if-then. You can now iterate. Okay, so if you want to do something 100 times, you can. If you want to take a list of 100 things and do something to every number in the list, you can do that. So now you have some tools, some problem-solving tools that you can use to attack some problems. I don't know what kind of problem I'm going to do here. Let's say, I'm going to give myself a variable n. I'll say n equals 0. And then I'll say while n is less than a. And I will, let's say, print the squares. So I'll just print the squares for all of the numbers up to the number I give it. So what do I want to do? I'm going to print the square of space, comma, what do I want to use? I want to use n. n is space. Do I need that one? I don't think I do. My OCD will make me come back and fix it though. But now I want n, but 8. I'm going to square it. Okay? So that should be good. And then I want to take that n and I want to add 1 to it. For those of you who may be a little bit confused, what I just did is the same thing as that. N equals n plus 1. Okay? You can use that special operator that plus equals to. So at the very least, you're probably seeing that for the first time. And then I'm getting out of Dodge. I'm just going to print the end, and the reason I do that is to show you that I'm out of the loop and the end will only print once. Okay, so if I'm not mistaken, I'm going to enter a number that'll give you 10. It starts at 0, jumps up. Is 0 less than 10? Yes. I proceed to go through the loop, then I go back to the top of the loop. N is 9. It is still, no, n is 1. It is still less than 10. Boom. Okay, and I go up and I go up. Save. What am I going to save this as? What do I want to call it? I'll call it squoo. Squoo. .py. Do I have to say .py? I don't think I have to. It says Python files there. So now I have squoo. And it actually saved it to the desktop. So there's my squoo. Save. F5. Enter a number. 10. Boom. Okay. So I got lucky, but my OCD is still screaming a little bit. Why is my OCD screaming a little bit? Because I'm starting at 0. Why don't I want to square 0? So I'll change that to 1. I'll run it again, and then I start with 1. And that's not so bad. You don't want to get technical. You don't really need to know the square of 1 either, but we'll leave it there. All right? So that's simple. You're doing for loops as well. A for loop is basically the same as a while, except you're just doing it for whatever's in that list that you're going over. If you have experience with another language, it's a little different doing for loops with Python because you're not setting up a variable, setting up a condition, and then doing the increment. You're just, hey, Python, here's a list. Do it for everything in the list. And then you have to get some facility with range. The range function. You'll learn it's a generator later, but the range function. So if you want to go from 1 to 10, you create a list from 1 to 10. And it works that way. So as far as a while loop is concerned, you want to use a while loop for what's called an indefinite loop when you don't know when it's going to end. We kind of cheated here because we created a definite loop with a structure that's made to handle indefinite stuff. But it's not that big a deal. All right? So, okay, we did. Now I don't feel so guilty. I've assuaged my guilt because now there's a little bit of Python on the board. At least we did something. Like I said, we're in the middle. There's about a week left of Unit 2. I opened up the second assignment, so you have all of the resources you need. You have both of the review videos, you have your slides, you have the book readings, and now you have both assignments. Okay, CowPy and the list of numbers. You'll learn about them later. So basically what I would say to you right now is don't sleep on the post because it's due in 2 days, the Slavin video. I know it's getting a little bit older, but it's still so cool that I still want to give it to people and I still want them to see it because there's still some interesting stuff there and there's still some of the things that video alludes to are still going on and there's still some interesting stuff. If we get a chance to in a later video, we will talk about the Flash Boys and the Sprint network, the one thing that he talks about at the end, that network that was built all the way to Chicago that people don't use. It's only used by the stock markets. It's only used by the electronic system, which is kind of cool. But we'll talk about that as the semester rolls along, and we'll get going. And I hope to do more live and in-person stop-ins and say hi to you guys, because it's very weird doing everything completely online. Although we had made this course completely online maybe a semester before the whole COVID thing happened. We used to run it as a hybrid. So what would happen was we would get a room somewhere over at Douglas and Heldridge or somewhere. One time we had it in Beck over in Livingston. And once a month we would meet. And once a month we would just talk about the class, maybe do a little bit of coding, talk about computer programming, different things like that. So I hope every once in a while to throw in an extra video like this and come in. As I say, I always want to say live and in person, but it's not live, it's contemporary because it's this particular semester. All right? I want to make sure everybody's comfortable. If you have questions about anything, you can always shoot me email. The two TAs, Sham and Sam, are both available to answer questions. I want you guys to feel comfortable. I want you to feel comfortable with Python. I want you to feel comfortable with programming. And we try to do things in a way that gently introduces you to computer programming without making it crazy. Because at the end of the day, and I always say this when I teach Intro to Computer Science in the Computer Science department for the undergrads, and what I always say to them is computer science isn't hard. Computer science is weird. And computer science is just the time you put in. Okay? That nerd that shows up 19 years old and goes to college and knows all the different languages and this and that. Well, the only reason is because they put the time in. All right? The nerd's not smarter than anybody else. The nerd just knows a bunch of buzzwords. I usually call those kids Johnny Hard Drive. Johnny Hard Drive knows the buzzword, right? Johnny Hard Drive's mom is a programmer, so she taught him how to program in Java and Python already. So Johnny Hard Drive knows some syntax and stuff like that, blah, blah, blah. Johnny Hard Drive scares the hell out of everybody because they go, oh, crap, that's what I'm up against? I got to be as smart as Johnny Hard Drive? Don't think like that, all right? It's time. It's the time you put in, okay? If you put in the time and you practice, you're going to get used to this kind of stuff. Programming is weird. It's functional writing. It's writing that does stuff after you're done writing, which is very, very weird. Usually writing is for communication. Even art is to communicate ideas and emotions, and writing on the page is to communicate ideas and things you're thinking and convey stories and narrative. Well, this writing right here is something that you're actually going to solve a problem with. You're codifying your problem-solving knowledge. It's kind of weird, but like I always say, I think I did it in another video. I could knock this program out, go walk the dog, take the garbage out, come back, and then bring my problem solving back up and just run it without having to think. It's like saving. When you solve something, you can save the solution. That's what computer programming is at the end of the day. And you guys are all getting it because the assignments came back. Sham's been grading the assignments and things are looking good. So you guys are in good shape. All right. So that's it for now. I don't want to keep you too long. It's what did I go? 15 minutes? Hold on. You're going to learn I blab too much. Yeah, about 15 minutes, which isn't bad for a video where I didn't do anything. Engage with the resources. Look at the assignments. You should be fine with them. I hope you get a kick out of them a little bit. I'm guessing it's the weekend. You might have a little spare time this weekend to get a little bit of Python done. That's good. Don't forget Sunday night is when that discussion post is due. You miss out on a point if you don't do it on time. It's always 3 days before the end of the unit. And the unit's going to end on October 1st, all right? I'm going to get you the quiz. I'm going to open it up the day before. I'm going to give you 30 hours to do the quiz, okay? It's a lot of time. And as you know, because you've already done one, the quizzes are no great shakes. Within less than an hour to do one of these quizzes. So you should be in good shape. I spread it out that much because that way you have 2 days to decide when you want to do it. Do you want to do it on the Tuesday or do you want to do it on the Wednesday? Because I know master's students, a lot of them work. And a lot of people are busy and people have lives, and I get that. So I want to make sure you have some options. It's a lot of asynchronous stuff. The only thing that's really synchronous is the quiz, but that's why I give you the long time frame. So you have time for all of that stuff. All right. I'm just going to blather on all night if I don't stop. You be good. Pleasure to meet you. And I'll be along with the video again in Unit 3 because we'll talk further about the Euler stuff. We'll talk about some other things. I'll start every once in a while throwing in some tips and some tricks. If anyone here ever has experience with musical instrument, that's what programming is like. You have to practice. You have to practice. I remember doing guitar when I was a kid. You used to go in with those Mel Bay books, and you had to learn your scales and blah, blah, blah. But then in the last 5 minutes of class, if you were lucky, maybe your teacher taught you how to play some Black Sabbath or taught you how to play Led Zeppelin. Okay? So I'm hoping to do that with you guys. I'll teach you a couple of neat Python tricks along the way. Because Python programmers are weird. They're not like other programmers. Pythonistas is what a lot of people call us. So it is a different kind of ethos. I don't know. I probably showed you this somewhere else. But if you go to your window and you type import this, you get the Zen of Python by Tim Peters. Just a little bit of hippie nonsense left behind. Let everybody know how weird Python programmers are. All right, so there's your little Easter egg for this video. You guys be good. Keep doing what you're doing because it looks to me like everybody pretty much has a decent handle on things. And I'll be around next unit to say hi again, okay? Over the weekend, probably maybe Sunday or Monday when that discussion post is due, I'll drop the Euler video. If you want to wait before you look at it because you're concentrated on the assignments, that's fine, okay? It's just a throwaway in there because now you have enough tools in your tool belt to actually do some real programming. So I throw in Euler in there so you can practice and go crazy if you want. All right, I'm doing it again. I will talk to you guys later. Be good. Bye.